Abs, what's the problem? Yeah, so if you show, hang on.
It's jammed.
Yeah, when we turn this, look, the catch isn't coming out, is it? So something's worn out inside.
And look, this comes out.
Yeah, that lock is fine. And now this handle is super old. So that's going to be fun, isn't it? Fun trying to repair and fun trying to find a replacement. Oh joy. What do we say?
Oh joy.
So I've managed to get through the 100 layers of paint from over the years. And these are starting to turn. So I've got one more to reveal and then we'll try and get this lock mechanism off. Isn't that right, Abs?
Yeah.
Good. Anyway, we've got these undone now.
Daddy, he's eating me.
So they weren't the easiest, but not too bad considering this is probably never removed since 1960s or earlier. So let's get this off and then get the plate off. There doesn't appear to be any screws here. Normally you get a couple in there as well, but I think a lot of it's held on by paint. But yeah, this is old. Anyone care to date it? Yeah, it's not had a very easy life. Yeah, it's probably had quite a hard life. Yes, that's really old. And the other side. There we go. Cool, loosey goosey. If I wiggle, you can see it's trying to do something, but I'll try and get it salvaged. If I can, great. If not, then we'll have to source a replacement that will fit into this section here. But yeah, so let's continue with this and we'll see what's in behind. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to open the back plate and see if I can fix it. Right, there's a little grub screw in there, which I've just undone. I've just poked it back in there so that it doesn't get lost. And there's our two holes. So handles come off, I think it's brass. And then this side, excuse me, Abs. This one will come straight out, like so. So there's our central pin. What are you doing, madam? Don't poke things in there. Oh, I see, you're getting the grease off. Okay, that's fine, that's good. Right, let's continue. Well, with a bit of a fight, it has come off. Check out that, that's like a weird cream colour. There's our hole. Looks okay, very bit dirty, a bit rusty. And here's our mechanism. There it is. So which way up was it? There, that way. And there is a screw here, so I'm going to have a look at that and we'll see if we can do any repairs, but I'm going to need some gloves for this one and probably not do it inside the house in case there's all sorts of grease and stuff in there. But this is actually really sharp, these edges, so got to be a little bit careful. I don't know if it's paint, but it's a little bit on the stabby side. But if we do need to replace it, this is what I need to find from somewhere. Or, don't know, maybe just do brand new hole. It's going to be fun. But anyway, let's get it open. So let's open it up. I've removed the screw, and inside the plate we have the mechanism. Quite straightforward actually, and not too complicated. There's our lock mechanism, just a simple slider, and this is what has broken. It's like an end piece that's dug in there. There's our spring, this weird little thing here, that's a spring. So that gives you the tension, and that actually pushes the lock back again. There's the piece that's broken, and that would go in position there. So that's just worn away and broken. And the spring would act on that to keep the latch closed, like that. So that's kind of horseshoe shape thing, that claw. That just goes over this cam, and as you open and close the handle, that would activate the latch itself. And of course the spring would keep that closed. And then when you open it, it would just open the latch and the spring would just push it back again. So that's how that goes in. I mean, who knows how old this is? That's had a lot of activations. So there we go. You can just see I'm opening the latch, and the spring would push it closed again. So open, and the spring would push it closed. Doesn't matter which way you move the handle, it would always just open that cam, and the spring there just pushes it back closed again. And that just fits in. So it's quite simple, quite easy to assemble. I mean, it's had so many years of opening and closing, so it's done pretty well, I'm sure. So that's the open position, spring pushes it closed, and it's just really like a claw, if you like. And I think it's made from brass. There's our opening and closing cam, or machined, or made from one single piece. And there's the piece that's broken. I think it goes in that position. So yeah, it's just worn away. That's probably the weak point, which is a shame after all the manufacturing gone into there. That's just the piece that's worn away. The spring has survived. Normally the spring goes first. There's our backing plate, nothing to that. All fairly straightforward. And there's our kind of claw, if you like. And it goes on to that position. And you can see that's just a simple open and close. So devoid of grease, actually. I was expecting a lot more grease in here. So I'm surprised this lasted so long. Unless the grease has dried. Perhaps that's what's happened. I'll try fixing it. It's brass, so I don't think solder's going to work. But we'll see what we can do with this. Let's see if we can fix it. Right, so my plan is to snap some of this spring off. There's a piece that snapped. And get this just to activate on the top piece of that claw, just to give it some spring to push it back into position. So I'm going to need to shave it a bit more. Now sadly it's really brittle, so right, as soon as you try and bend it, it just snaps. Has been initiated. So what I'm going to try and do, so this is my retrofit. What I've done is I've snapped a piece of this spring off here, just the edge here. And I'm hoping that with that in that position, I'm going to get a bit of spring just on this top bar here. As you remember before, we had this whole moon shaped piece here, which is where the spring used to press. You can even see there's a marking there. That's where the spring used to dig in. I think this is brass. I've tried to solder it. As you can see, it doesn't work. So that's where the spring would engage when it was in that position. Like that. So what I'm hoping to do is, rather than pressing down here, I'm going to just have it on one of these arms here. And it seems to work. It may not be quite as slick and as strong as it used to be, but it'll buy me a bit of time to find one of these. I think they are available on various sites, but I'm going to need to measure it, etc. So I'm going to pack it with a bit of grease, help it just to slide, and then we'll just see if this works, because initially it does seem to have a bit of spring there. It's unfortunately not a bendable material. It's very brittle, this spring. So if I could find something that's maybe more malleable, maybe I can get it so that it will press a bit more in here, but it seems to work. So I'm going to pack it with grease. It's going to be difficult to show you. Once we've got it back together, we might get some action, and this might need a bit of greasing as well. It just seems to slide. It does slide quite well, but I think over time things get very loose and they start to drag. But yeah, let's give it a go. By the way, this is what I'm going to use. I can't remember when I last bought this. This must have been old. Look at that. There's even an old Halford sign there. $3.99. So this is 20 years old maybe. Could be more. But yeah, lovely thick grease. probably banned nowadays, but this will do the job just to give it a bit of lube. Okay, there we go. I've greased various parts. Got some grease on the spring pivot point, spring around the kind of axle-y bit, various grease underneath. So we're going to give that a go and we'll see if that see if it just works. Well, we have moderate success. It still looks a bit dodgy, but we have the spring action back. So when we close, the lock, and then we open. So yeah, it is working. It's not very nice feeling, so it definitely needs to be replaced, but at least we can latch the door now, and it does work. So there we go. Nice little bodge, DIY bodge. And I'll look to find something that's an exact replacement if possible. Cheers for watching.